You just paid for something. You tapped your card. It beeped. Done. Feels free, right? It isn't. Hidden inside that price, every price at every store, every single day, is a cost that was put there before you even walked through the door. A cost you never agreed to, never saw on any receipt, and were never meant to find out about. In America alone, it adds up to $187 billion every single year, and most of that money flows to one place. In this video, we're going to break down exactly what this hidden cost is, how it works, who collects it, and why the entire system was built to make sure you never noticed it. This isn't a theory. Everything in this video is documented in government reports, court filings, and congressional hearings. The U.S. Department of Justice has sued over this. Senators have called it a cartel, and the company at the center of it has an operating profit margin of 83%. By the end of this video, the next time you tap that card, you will see something completely different. To understand how we got here, you need to go back to 1958. Bank of America had an idea. Give people a card. Let them buy now, pay later. They mass-mailed cards to hundreds of thousands of Californians who never asked for them. Fraud exploded. The program nearly collapsed. Bank of America sent a public apology letter to 3 million households. But by 1961, it quietly became very profitable. And Bank of America made a deliberate decision to tell nobody. They let the bad press keep running. Because negative press was keeping competitors away. That worked for 5 years. By 1976, the profits were too big to hide. They rebranded. They chose a name recognizable in almost every language on Earth. They called it Visa. Today, Visa's network processes 257 billion transactions, worth $14.2 trillion every single year, more than the GDP of most countries. But here's what most people fundamentally misunderstand about Visa. Visa doesn't issue your card. It doesn't lend you money. It doesn't set your interest rate. What Visa does is sit silently in the middle of every transaction, invisible, collecting, every single time. Here's how it actually works. And this part is critical, because most people get it slightly wrong. Every time you use a card, credit or debit, the merchant who just sold you something doesn't receive the full amount. You spend $100 at a grocery store. The store gets roughly $97.65. That missing $2.35 is split between the bank that issued your card, a payment processor, and the card network. This is called a swipe fee, also known as an interchange fee, and it is completely invisible to you as a consumer. Now here is the part that makes this personal. That store doesn't absorb the loss. It can't afford to. So it does what every business does. It bakes that cost into the price of everything it sells, which means that $2.35 fee doesn't come from the merchant's pocket. It comes from yours. Whether you paid with a card, with cash, with a check, with your phone, you paid it. Invisible, automatic, every single time. According to the Merchants Payments Coalition, in 2024, the average American family paid nearly $1,200 in swipe fees, built invisibly into the prices of everything they bought that year. Even families who never owned a credit card in their lives. The total across the entire U.S. economy in 2024, $187 billion. A new record, up from $172 billion the year before. And it has gone up every single year for over a decade. For context, $187 billion is more than the U.S. federal government spends on education each year. And here is something that will make you genuinely angry. US swipe fees are 4 times higher than Australia's, 6 times higher than cross-border European rates, more than double the United Kingdom. America has the highest card fees in the developed world, by a significant margin. A poll found that only 1 in 3 Americans had ever even heard of interchange fees. But when it was explained to them, 90% said Congress should force companies to disclose it publicly. They never did. And there's one more layer to this that almost nobody talks about. You know those rewards cards? Cashback, air miles, hotel points? Those rewards are funded by interchange fees. The higher the rewards card, the higher the interchange fee the merchant pays. So the system works like this. Wealthy people with premium rewards cards get their air miles, funded by the higher prices that everyone else pays, including the people who can't afford a credit card at all. The poorest consumers in America are subsidizing the travel rewards of the wealthiest. And nobody designed it this way by accident. But the hidden cost is only half the story. In September 2024, the United States Department of Justice filed a landmark antitrust lawsuit against Visa, and the revelations inside that filing were extraordinary. Visa controls more than 60% of all debit card transactions in the United States. Its nearest competitor holds less than 25% of the market. Visa's operating profit margin in North America? 83%. For comparison, Apple's is around 30%. And Visa didn't achieve that dominance by being the best product. It got there by making sure nobody else could compete. The DOJ complaint revealed that Visa had identified Apple, Google, Square, and Amazon as existential threats. Companies that, if they built the right technology, could process payments without Visa in the middle. So Visa paid them hundreds of millions of dollars, not for services, not for products, to keep them as partners instead of competitors. One internal Visa executive email, uncovered and quoted directly in the DOJ complaint, said that they had Square, quote, on a short leash. The structure of the deal, the email continued, was meant to protect Visa against being cut out of the middle. This wasn't a competition. This was a system designed to make competition impossible. But paying competitors to stay quiet wasn't enough. In 2020, a fintech startup called Plaid was quietly building something that threatened the entire system. Plaid had connected to 200 million consumer bank accounts across the US. It was the invisible plumbing behind major apps like Venmo and Robinhood, and it was developing a way for people to pay merchants directly from their bank, cutting out card networks entirely. Visa moved fast. It offered $5.3 billion to acquire Plaid, double the company's last private valuation. And Visa's own CEO, Alfred Kelly, wrote down exactly why. He described the deal in an internal document as, and this is a direct quote, an insurance policy to protect our debit business. The Department of Justice called this a killer acquisition. The goal wasn't to grow Plaid. It was to bury it before it could become a threat. The DOJ sued to block the deal. Visa walked away. Plaid survived. But the message was unmistakable. If you build something that threatens this system, the system will try to buy you before you ever get the chance to compete. So zoom out. What does all of this actually mean for you? Right now? Today? It means the price of almost everything you buy has a hidden layer baked in. One that wasn't put there by the company that made the product or the store that sold it. It was put there by a network that sits silently between the two of you. And that network, through deals, penalties, and acquisitions, has made itself nearly impossible to remove. In the European Union, interchange fees are legally capped. Credit cards, maximum 0.3%. Debit cards, 0.2%. In America, no such cap exists. The average rate hit 2.35% in 2024, and it rises every year. That gap is what costs the average American family over $1,200 a year. And the people who get hurt most by this system are not wealthy cardholders. Those people actually benefit. Their rewards points are funded by the same fees everyone else pays. The people who pay the most are low-income families, people who pay cash. Small business owners have zero negotiating power against a network that controls 60% of all debit transactions. A small restaurant doing $1 million a year in sales pays somewhere between $18,000 and $36,000 in swipe fees alone, before rent, before payroll, before a single ingredient. Swipe fees are now the second highest operating cost for most American retailers, behind only labor. And if a business refuses to accept Visa cards, they lose customers. Immediately. No choice, no negotiation. Visa knows it. Congress has proposed a solution, the Credit Card Competition Act, which would force networks to allow at least one competing payment rail on every card transaction. Economists estimate it could save American consumers $15 billion a year. It has not passed. The financial industry spends more on lobbying than almost any other sector in Washington. And the system, profitable, invisible, and deeply embedded, keeps running. This system has been running for over 60 years. It was designed to be invisible, built to be unavoidable, and structured to grow year after year, without most people ever asking a single question. Now you know. The next time you tap that card, and you hear that beep, you'll know exactly what just happened in that 1 second. And you'll understand why the company at the center of all this has never, in its entire history, been seriously threatened. Until now. If you want to see how these hidden fees affect your specific state, check the link in the description. Subscribe to stay informed on how the financial system is changing.